How do you see the evolution of Cloud Foundry? Because sometimes people say, oh, is PaaS even relevant these days? So how do you see the evolution?
So there are people who have a smaller scope of what they're trying to solve, right? If you can bring up machines and you just need to get some containers running, then you might think Kubernetes solves your problem. Maybe it does. But the problem I solve, Stark and Wayne is helping our customers solve, is they want an experience that can be managed entirely, has security models and organizational models and a level of confidence around who's allowed to do what. And Cloud Foundry sets that bar. It says CF push, you're allowed to CF push to certain places and not others. You're allowed to see certain things and not others. And not just at CF push, your containers are all isolated internally. I spent 5 years evolving the networking model between containers. So a lot of it's, and then there's the life cycle of the security model. There's the 3 R's, repave, reboot, and rotate, of trying to platformatize a top level security model so that you don't have to accidentally say silly things on Twitter that become, sorry, contextually, at the time we speak, what was it, last week was T-Mobile support lady said, oh no, we do security by having great people. It's like, oh my Lord, you've just opened a terrible can of worms, and everyone started, finding all their security holes because they just became a white hat target and probably a black hat target. But yeah, so we because we get to control the entire experience downwards, as from an internal operator experience, we get to give everyone a good security model. Everyone gets, because we're not taking Docker images. Okay, Cloud Foundry can take Docker images, but the build pack model of your bespoke code plus a build pack plus a root FS means that as operators, we can keep rotating the new versions of Ruby, the new versions of Go, the new versions of Java, and the new OS patches from Ubuntu or wherever, SUSE, and we can make sure that everyone's apps are continually upgraded to a security model. And you get the 2 phases. You get the phase where apps are actively developed, 10 times a day people are CF pushing, or more likely these days you have CI systems CF pushing. I don't know why CI would be typing, but anyway, what's the robot doing? Like CI typing CF push. And then there's the second phase where apps become more stable, but they still need that operator love, and you get a standard from an operator's perspective. It's standard. Everything behaves the same way, as opposed to bespoke clusters of Docker and Chef and Puppet that evolve over time. So you've got the newest thing you've deployed, and it's got the best patents from 2018, but all the other ones age, because keep them all up to date the same way. You have every intention to, but you never get back to them. And then back to the developers. So if you're a web developer, you're an independent shop. If you've ever learned how to CF push, you can work for GE or SAP or any company that's using Cloud Foundry. Every keynote that's been given is an advert for places how to deploy apps to. Bespoke, interesting ways that apps get deployed. So if you're an efficient consultancy or an efficient individual, you can go to those places and they will value how efficient and effective you are. So I think it's an exciting time to be a web developer and to be building back-end apps.